Welcome. Good evening. Here we are for episode 106 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Laney Pavlon. Time me, I have Justin Hebert and is that a shirt of What If Racing on YouTube.
Yep, I bought one a few weeks ago, and I got it last week. Yeah.
I might have to order mine as well. Well, first short track race of the Cup Series sure didn't disappoint yesterday.
Yep, it was interesting. It was interesting racing on Sunday from Saturday because rain. We knew rain was going to happen because Virginia, in this time, there's always a chance of rain in Virginia.
There's always a chance of rain at a venue that the Cup Series is racing at that same moment. At this point, that's my theory. I don't have anything to back up my statement, but that's just my theory.
Well, Richmond's next. We'll have to see. But, it was interesting racing. But sometimes there was too many caution flags. At some points, we just couldn't keep it green. We kept having
15
accidents.
Cautions. This race took almost 4 hours to complete. Yeah,
because the race resumed at 4 Eastern. It finished a little bit after 8 Eastern. Yeah, it was but at the end, there was some restarts. We kept getting cautions a few laps after.
Cautions breeds cautions, It's just, the way you go, the way she goes.
Yeah, because we actually completed a few laps on Saturday, but then the rain, because, there was going to be rain.
And rain was on the horizon. Maybe next year we'll have that solved. Who knows? We had the tire testing thing.
But people said put retractable roofs on that.
Bristol was a subject for retractable roofing.
Yeah, but it was, interesting, but Cody Ware especially.
The Cody Ware Caution 500 at Martinsville say much? Well, let's take a look at the results. After almost 4 hours of racing on the shortest paperclip in NASCAR, Truex Jr., or should I say Martinsville Truex Jr., takes the win for the third time at the circuit. So I don't want to make you choke there.
Yeah.
Truex Jr., third calendar year, third win at Martinsville in a row for each season. He's gone to victory lane. Now this is his second spring win in a row.
And also, he's driven the 19 and all of the victories, his 3 victories, all in the same 19 car.
For Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep.
Martin Truex Jr. led only 20 laps, unlike the other races where he's dominated to victory. This was more of a cat and mouse match against his teammate and then a few other drivers that really showed this race could have been won by multiple drivers if you really think about how this event went so far. Martin Truex Jr. picks up his 29th career win, started 7th in this race, and is finally the first driver to win more than once in 2021.
Yeah.
We knew this was coming.
Yeah, because we knew it was going to come at one point by someone that's a veteran. We knew that I knew that Michael McDowell was not going to get a win at Martinsville because that car,
we're talking about veteran experience.
Yeah, Martin
Truex Jr.
has that experience.
Absolutely. So now 7 different winners, 8 races down, and still a long way to go in this championship.
Yeah.
Second place was last year's fall winner, Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott started 5th, and he really had a good car. If there were some cautions between the final restart and the finish, he might have been in a position to go to victory lane. Denny Hamlin, gosh, how close can Denny be in 2021? The points leader led a blistering 276 laps, more than anybody else. Over half the race was led by Denny Hamlin. The hometown favorite, unfortunately, had, I guess, just weaker tires towards the end.
Yeah, he pushed so hard that Truex catched him really good because Truex saved tires.
Sure did. Hamlin started 2nd and finished 3rd. He did rack up both stages with good stage points positions.
Yeah.
He didn't win the stages, but he was in the position to get the extra points to extend that points lead. William Byron and Kyle Larson rounded out the top 5. William Byron led 9 laps after starting 3rd. Kyle Larson led no laps, but he started 19th, so almost halfway through the grid was Kyle Larson. Really kept his car in the top 10. Once he got there, Larson stayed there.
And also Larson, this is his worst short track is Martinsville. He struggled at this track when he drove for Chip Ganassi Racing. But he actually performed well in that number 5 car for Rick Hendrick. So that's 3 of the Hendrick cars in the top 5. The other one did not finish. You'll figure out.
And I'm sure had Alex Bowman finished the race, he probably would have ended up in the top 10. Yeah. Maybe better.
Like he had that issue with the vibration, and then the pile up, the parking lot on the back straightaway.
Yep. 6th place, Joey Logano. Logano led 6 laps from the pole position. Yep. Brought it home in the top 10. Logano won at the Bristol Dirt Race. Christopher Bell, who won at the Daytona Road Course, led 9 laps, started 23rd, brought home 7th for Joe Gibbs Racing. Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick, 8th and 9th. And how about this? 10th place, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch had a very eventful race yesterday. Yeah. He was up and down, was involved in 2 wrecks that looked like he would be done for, at least in terms of finishing in the top 10 at all.
Yeah.
Incidents like that would take him off the table for any top 15 or even a top 20. Yeah. Somehow, some way, Kyle Busch made it back to the top 10. Yeah. So just think of how well he could have done had those incidents not happen.
Yeah.
12th place, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney won stage 1, stage 2, led 156 laps, started 4th. But what took him out of contention to win? A pit road error by the crew.
Getting a penalty.
Yeah, getting a penalty for moving equipment. But what happened to Ryan Blaney was a piece of the jack was stuck inside the left rear opening where the wheel goes in.
Yeah.
And it trapped the air gun hose out. And of course, how short the pits are, you can't just stop and turn back and go to the finish line. You have to keep going and go around. Otherwise, go lap down.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Bubba Wallace led 23 laps, started 25th, finished 16th. A good run for Bubba Wallace and the 2311 Racing Team. Certainly a top 10 car had things not go a little bit off like there was in the final green flag run. But nonetheless, great run for the 23 team. How about Rick Greer Racing drivers? James Davison and Josh Bilicki. Davison started 37th. Bilicki started 33rd, and both drivers get their career best finishes despite running into trouble and putting those cars in a good position. It was not as fortunate as the teammate of Cody Ware, but nonetheless, great performance by both drivers. Let's look down the result order a little further here. Quinn Half, a solid 24th. J.J. Yeley, 25th. Jay Yeley's car definitely made me interested in eating some ice cream, which I could not go to sleep without having. Anthony Alfredo, 26th. Chase Briscoe just had a struggling day, 27th. Eric Jones had a top 10 car until his rear gear gave out on lap 403. Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman.
Oh yeah.
Were involved in the lap 380 crash.
Oh, the big one.
Yeah, big one if you call it. It was a multi-car accident. Now, Justin, explain what happened out on the racetrack.
Okay, off the lap before, Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher were racing hard. They made contact in the 3 and 4. Then Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch, they were mad at each other. They ran into each other off 2. They spun off of 2 with them spinning. Trying to hit the brakes at Martinsville is kind of hard. Everybody started just stacking and plowing in the others. You had Matt down. Then Alex Bowman arrived on the scene. Then you had Ryan Prix. Then on the inside, you had Cole Custer and Anthony Alfredo. And then Brad Keselowski was about to make it through. Justin Haley plows at the end.
The track turned into a parking lot on the backstretch. And, Martinsville, you don't think it's that narrow until it gets narrow.
Holy.
We did yesterday. And took many good cars out of the race.
And Daniel Suarez, he was involved in that wreck, but under the red flag, he threw his water bottle at.
His car got caught on fire to run out. It was just a terrible situation.
But he threw a water bottle at William Byron's car, kind of a reason. William Byron bumped Suarez out the way, put him in the wall. Suarez was mad, so he threw a water bottle at Byron's car. Well, but after that wreck, the last car in the race, like last place finisher, was Corey LaJoie. He was actually in the top 10.
That was heartbreaking.
He hit Harvick when he came out of the pits, clipped the 7 and massive radiator damage. But Corey was running in the top 10, and that's
Corey LaJoie's best track is actually Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, he led laps for Go Fast last year in the spring. Like he could have got a top 15. He had a decent car there. But that just really was unfortunate for Corey LaJoie and Spire Motorsports. And his teammate Justin Haley finished out of the race too. So that's basically a team killer right there.
Big time. So yes, let's take a look at the championship standings as we continue going short track racing. Next week will be the Richmond Toyota Owners 400 round 9 of 36. Denny Hamlin extends the points lead.
Oh, yeah.
76 points now. It's the teammate of Hamlin in second.
Correct.
Truex Jr. by 1 over Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson is fourth with 280 points minus 99. Fifth place is Ryan Blaney. William Byron up to 6th. And Chase Elliott climbing the ladder, 7th in points. Kevin Harvick is the one-man show for the struggling Storehouse Racing start of the season. The organization, Harvick, has 253 points scored so far. Brad Keselowski drops in the points after his accident. And Christopher Bell with the top 10 car brings it into the top 10 in points, 217 points. So we still have a lot of racing left.
Yeah.
And
we have a decent stretch going on.
We have a long stretch, but
we got different tracks coming up too. Like we got another short track at Richmond, a super speedway at Talladega, a mile and a half. Then you got the egg-shaped Darlington track, the Dover, the concrete mile Dover. Then you got Coda, which is you don't know what's gonna be
first ever race.
And then you got the Coke 600 mile endurance. Then you got Sonoma. The
third road course race of the season, and that's the end of the stretch before the All-Star break.
Yeah, and then after that, whenever the All-Star, like that weekend, they go to a new track, Nashville Super Speedway. Then after that, it's what track? Pocono
races, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, and then they go to Road America.
First race in
the 1950s.
Over 60 years.
After that, they go to a second Atlanta race, which is different than because
1956 was the last time they raced at Road America. It was the only time they raced.
Yeah, Atlanta, that's a second race, which hot conditions, it's going to make the track
but a shorter race, 400 miles. Yeah. They've never raced 400 miles in Atlanta, and who knows how long.
But the temperatures are going to be really hot. It's going to be no grip out there. And the last race before the Olympic break, New Hampshire, on the 18th of July.
It'll be August before you know it.
July 18th, and then they got 2 weeks, and then Watkins Glen in August.
Pretty much, I mean, if you count the All-Star race, there's no weeks off until July 18th. But in terms of the season, you have a stretch until early June.
Yeah, but you got to capitalize on points.
Every race counts.
Yeah.
You can't let off, especially with how high the competition has been so far.
Like, there's some tracks that people circle, like the smaller teams. Talladega. You got to do, like, if you can keep up with the draft, you're going to be good. But the thing about Talladega, you
can also ruin a great race car.
Yeah, but the thing is, people say, oh, if you're in the middle of the pack, you're going to wreck. Stay in the back. Even in the back, you could wreck in the front.
You can't avoid trouble anywhere.
Yeah, you could be.
You have to mitigate it, like the virus. You have. I don't want to be Mr. Fauci here, but you have to mitigate the chances of getting in trouble and messing up.
but
getting caught on the big one.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be that's like those tracks, but the new tracks also like the race at Coda. That you don't know what's gonna happen until we see practice, but Coda's gonna the new tracks are gonna be interesting.
Absolutely.
Because there's some tracks like Talladega's a wild card. Darlington stripes happen.
That's Darlington is a driver's track.
Dover's a tough track also. Dover.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to see. Yeah. I want to see a long green flag stretch there because this one you really see where the best tire management comes into play. Tire management is going to be the name of the game for both Darlington and Dover.
After Coda, the Coke 600, the longest race of the season, 600 miles, 400 laps.
It's going to be a very interesting one.
And then Sonoma. They haven't been at Sonoma since 2019, and it's the second.
Sonoma has been a fixture on the calendar, so it's not as bad.
But
as other tracks that have been missing.
But it's for the drivers that's never been there, like Anthony Alfredo and them. What
about Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, rookies from last year that had that opportunity? We're going to see a lot of faces in the West Series.
Bell. Yeah, Christopher Bell's another name. Like Ryan Prix, he has at least a start there. In 2000, he ran the back then K&N West in 2019, and he ran the Cup Series race. But it's like some drivers that are rookies last year and this year, their first time at Sonoma, same as Christopher Bell.
By the way, fans will be admitted at Sonoma, so that immediately tells me we're going to have a race there in June.
Yeah. Which Sonoma's an interesting track, and also the carousel's back for that one.
Yes, for the second year since 1998.
Yeah, because like in 2018 was the last year without the carousel. 2019
short shoot.
Yeah, the 2019 they added that, which I like the carousel like in real life. On NASCAR Heat 5, no, you use like through the carousel part.
Oh, you get more opportunities to go off track.
No, you always lose spots because your car's bad through the corner there, but it's an interesting track with the carousel.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot on the plate for these drivers. I'm not satisfied with the looks of the top 10 in the point standings. There are going to be changes, and I'll name a few. I'll throw in some names that you should be expected to see in the top 10 in points, or names that you should be surprised not to see in the top 10 in points. Those drivers include, but are not limited to Cole Custer, Eric Jones, 24th, 26th, Eric Almirola, 28th points, 2 top 20 finishes. Nope. Finishes inside the top 10.
Nope. Like, there's so many drivers back there. Matt DiBenedetto is not even that high up in points either.
No.
Like, some of these drivers, Tyler Reddick, Eric Almirola's best finish is 11th this season.
Not been his cup of tea, 2020.
But there's some drivers that are impressing me that are not. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is doing decent. Like, he's
absolutely
in that 47.
Solid runs. He almost won the Bristol Dirt Race.
Austin Dillon's 12th in points in the 3-car. Like, people don't expect that.
Austin Dillon's racking up the stage points.
But one person that's under the bubble right now is Alex Bowman, 17th, behind Michael McDowell.
He's creeping up in points every race. He has gained spots. But an outcome like Martinsville, had he finished in the top 10 as he should, then maybe it would have cracked the top 16.
But the thing is, the next track for Alex Bowman, which is Richmond, Richmond.
That has not been his place.
But the thing is, he ran good last fall. He finished 9th. And he's usually running like 20th. So maybe Greg Eisbing's a good setup. We'll have to see
within that team.
Yeah, but then they go to Talladega. Alex Bowman wrecked out last year. Remember, he wrecked in the Talladega race.
Right, but most of the incidents that involved Alex Bowman were none of his problems.
Well, Talladega
2019 in the spring race, Alex Bowman was moments away from winning.
Finished second, like he was leading in the fall of 2019.
Caution flag not come out on the final lap, he would have won that race.
In the fall of 2019, he got spun after Boyer and Logano shenanigans.
Yeah, and Bowman just was a pure victim of someone else's
And
aggression.
2020, the fall race, he got pushed. Kyle pushed Logano in the Bowman, who turned down Marola. And the last plate track, Bowman crashed into the Eric Almirola's big one.
I don't know how he got back in that thing, but everybody had like some kind of incidents. But yeah, let's move to the Xfinity Series now. Unlike the Cup Series having a long stretch, the Xfinity guys only have 2 races in the month of April.
Yeah.
This in Talladega, but we're going to start, of course, with what happened on Sunday yesterday at the end of the Xfinity Series race.
Yep.
It came down to experience. And Josh Berry, this is why Dale Jr. selected Josh Berry to drive the number 8 car, the car that will have part-time drivers up until Sam Mayer's debut when Sam reaches of age at 18, eligible to run the Xfinity Series. Till then, part-time drivers will still around, including Josh Berry. Josh Berry is a late model veteran at short tracks. He has succeeded through the ranks. Dale Jr. has been using Josh Berry as the face of his
late model
program, and Josh Berry delivered. He led 95 laps, more than any other driver in the race. Josh Berry, by the way, started 29th here.
I actually picked him. I picked him.
You picked Josh Berry. I'm like, maybe a top 5, but I don't think a win. Well, he outlasted everybody.
Yeah, and he really did good. When I saw Ty Gibbs get by him, I'm like, there's no chance. He got back to him. And he was really fast in that number 8 car. Yeah.
So this is the first career win for Josh Berry. And the second win in a row for Junior Motorsports. Junior Motorsports drivers finished 1 and 2. Noah Gragson, who won stage 1, led 12 laps in the race. Started 8th and brought it home to 2nd. Had the cautions come out a little bit differently towards the end, he might have ended up in victory lane.
Yeah.
And the same could be said about 3rd place driver Daniel Hemrick, as Daniel Hemrick's won stage 2 and led 28 laps in the race after starting 4th. Hemrick really doing what he needs to do to catch up in the points.
Yeah, he's still 2nd. Still stays behind Cindric in points.
4th place. Let's talk about Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, another outstanding drive by the kid. 28 laps led. Started 16th, brought it home 4th in a merely unsponsored car, number 54 Toyota Supra. Now, mind you, Ty Gibbs, honestly, I'm going to be a little bit of a biased race fan here when I say this. We know that there are star talent, the star talent everywhere in sports, motorsports. But in terms of Ty Gibbs, I don't think I have seen a driver with so much success right off the bat in this kind of level of racing.
Yeah.
Not since, and you're going to call me crazy, Lewis Hamilton in the 2007 World Championship Formula One.
Yeah. Yeah, because Lewis Hamilton really performed good in his first season in 07.
Could have very well won the title.
Ty Gibbs won his first start with no practice or qualifying at the Daytona road course in his first time in an Xfinity car. He got 2nd at Phoenix in his 2nd start.
If that race had another lap, he would have won.
He got 4th. He got 4th in his 3rd start. He has 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 3 top 10s in 3 starts. That is impressive.
Absolutely impressive. And you know what? Speaking of NASCAR stardom at a young age, I go back about 13 years ago, almost 13 years ago. I remember as a young kid watching Joey Logano go through the ranks, and Joey Logano's situation was merely different, but at the same time, very similar. Logano had a lot of hype. He already won the East Series championship at the age of 17. Even then, 17 was very young to be successful in the regional series.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
And then Joe Gibbs Racing, of course, he's got Joey Logano turned 18 in May of 2008. So, of course, he couldn't make a start in the Nationwide Series till then.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, Logano finished sixth in his Cup Series, his Nationwide Series debut. Mind you, the nature of that series was completely different. It was expected for Cup Series drivers to take up about a good 35% of the field at least, and that includes standalone races. Logano finished sixth in a race with Cup Series superstars surrounding him.
Yeah.
At Dover. Now Nashville Super Speedway rolls around. Of course, it's a little bit different, a little bit less of Cup Series Series presence, but he started on pole, had an incident early on in the race, and just was out of contention.
Yeah.
And then the next race rolls around at Kentucky Speedway. Standalone race at the time. And my gosh, I have never seen a driver do what Joey Logano did. Well, as a race fan myself, watching that on TV, I just was blown away. And very next year, Logano became a regular in the Cup Series in 2009. Sure, his time at Joe Gibbs Racing was mostly unsuccessful. He pulled out 2 wins and would run in the top 15 most of the time, but it was just not the tenure we expected Joey Logano to be in.
But
he's a Cup Series champion now.
He moved to Team Penske. Going to Team Penske was a good move for him. He actually is really good with Team Penske.
Back to Joe, the race fan. I did not think Logano being selected at Team Penske was the right decision by the captain himself.
But
wrong.
Yeah, when they replaced Hornish, which Hornish was running in the Nationwide Series in the 12th car, because Allmendinger was slated to run the full season, but you know what happened after Daytona. They put Hornish, but when Logano, 2013 was not the best, but that 2014, that's where he started performing really good. 2014,
2015, 2016, he could very well won those championships. 2017 was a little bit off, and 2018 he finally got it up.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know we're talking about a different story here, but we got to go back to Ty Gibbs for a second. I know we got the rest of the results to go through for the Nationwide Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
I know I'm 7 years late on that. The Nationwide Series was finished after 7 years when they changed brand names, but at the same time, the point I'm trying to make here is that this is the kind of level of talent Ty Gibbs has exuded in just 3 races in NASCAR's second highest level.
Yeah, he's
no joke here.
He skipped the Truck Series. Just saying, instead of going from ARCA to Trucks like most drivers do, he went from ARCA to Xfinity.
We've seen that before, but usually we kind of expect that the drivers take a little bit longer, even in the Truck Series, to own their skills.
But a win in his first start with no practice, no qualifying, in the first time in the car.
Never made a single turn in that car until turn 1 of the race. And he beat some of the best drivers out there.
Yeah, like one of them, Austin Cindric, a road course specialist.
Let me bring Danny on the podcast as we continue this discussion on Ty Gibbs and how much of stardom there is in this driver.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on?
Hey, Danny.
I'm good. I'm going good.
So I want to make a long story short here with Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
If you see this guy in the Cup Series in some capacity next year, don't be surprised. And I know he still has some learning curve. There's still some learning curves.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to find that in a young driver like Ty Gibbs, but
you find that in any rookie driver come to the Cup Series.
You are.
Yeah.
This is all coming down to experience and talent. And you know what? Ty Gibbs seems to be very mature on the radio, in the interviews.
Yeah.
Accountable, which for most drivers his age is still somewhat of a problem.
Yeah.
Expect a lot of good things out of this driver for many years to come, no matter where Ty Gibbs chooses to exude his talents in motorsport. Let's move down the finishing order. Brandon Jones finished 5th.
Okay.
Now, Brandon Jones, the teammates of Daniel Hemrick and Ty Gibbs, who outperformed him, led at the end of the Friday's portion before the race got postponed. Had Friday's race continue, we might have seen him go to victory lane,
But
because he had a pit issue and just had to pretty much backtrack all the way to getting that fifth spot.
and also, and Brian Jones, he wants to recover from Atlanta because he wrecked out of Atlanta after Brett Moffitt got in the back of him. He's just trying to get points. He's dropped points, so he's trying to just get points here, rallied up for him.
So Austin Cindric 6, Harrison Burton, who started on pole, led 52 laps. Last year's winner finished 7th. Justin Haley 8th. Justin Allgaier, the Atlanta winner, 9th. And Michael Annett brings it home in the top 10. All top 10
for Junior
Motorsports.
Yep. Oh. Yep, all the JRM cars, top 10, really good, solid.
Brett Moffitt, who finished 12th, led 7 laps, started 27th. 18th place, George Gorham Jr. made his Xfinity Series debut, finishing 18th. A very impressive run after starting 37th.
Yeah.
Bailey Currie led 7 laps after starting 26th and finished 26th. 28th place, Matt Jaskell made his Xfinity Series debut after starting 40th. And last place, he made it into the 28th spot. And 34th place was Tommy Joe Martins, who led 5 laps after starting 17th.
Yeah.
So once again, the Xfinity guys take a week off. They come back. Talladega for 300 miles is the next race on April 24th for the 8th round of this 33-race tour.
I also want to say about Bailey Currie, that's the most lap that Mike Harmon Racing has ever led. They led 3 laps was the most, but that was under yellow. But 7 laps and also under green. The first time Mike Harmon Racing leads more laps than ever, and also the first time they lead under green. Which,
you are a stat keeper.
Yeah, I saw that from Mike Harmon Racing's Twitter, which was, interesting run.
Eventually, their time has come. All right, so let's take a look at the championship standings. The top 10 in points after 7 races. Austin Cindric's points lead does decrease a little bit, 42 points, but Daniel Hemrick still has some work to do to catch up to the championship leader. Harrison Burton, 3rd place, catches up to 3rd, minus 75. Justin Haley is 4th, minus 87. Justin Haley's teammate Jeb Burton and AJ Allmendinger are 5th and 6th, minus 96 and 99 points from the championship leader. Mike Snyder, minus 111. 8th place, Justin Allgaier, minus 118. How about Jeremy Clements, the owner driver, in the top 10 in the championship, minus 119. And Brandon Jones rounds out the top 10, 130 points behind points leader Austin Cindric. So I think the Xfinity guys have a lot on their plate, but at least another break in between, and they go back. At least everybody has a good grip on what to expect for Talladega. If you were successful at Daytona, you might just be very successful at Talladega, or it's a wild card race. It could be either or. We've seen it.
But we're going to most likely have rookies like Natalie Decker. She's running for Our Motorsports in the 23, and do you want to know she's going to have a replacement crew chief because Lane Perkins' crew chief, the 23 crew chief, was suspended for Talladega, so she's going to have a new crew chief on the pit box. And
Natalie Decker is in this race 2 or 300, according to NASCAR Twitter.
And she's in her second Xfinity start. Her first start, she got 1 point.
2 laps.
Yeah, 2 laps. This time, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Let's see how Mahavir Decker does at Talladega.
Mahavir Decker.
Sorry, okay, let's not trash drivers.
Mahavir Decker. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Honestly, I miss Mahavir because at least he was an entertaining driver on the track.
Cutting the track at Monaco on the start.
The most passes he ever made in the entire Formula 2 season.
Yeah, and got a penalty right away. So, yep.
Okay, let's be serious. All right, let's move on to Formula E. Formula E is back, and the fact that we saw a race on a street course gives me hope as a race fan. Yep. In Italy, a street course in Rome.
Yep.
I don't care if it's held in closed doors. I mean, still street circuit, still in public rounds.
Yeah.
For rounds 3 and 4 of a 10-race tour, the Rome Prix. Let's talk race 1, then we'll talk about race 2. But we had a very eventful race 1. You got to catch me up on race 2 because I fell asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I slept in during race 2, but let's talk about race 1. I was up and watching that.
Oh, race 1 was interesting.
Jean-Éric Vergne for Cheetah ended up taking the win.
Yeah.
Very impressive run for the French driver who ended up taking his 10th career win. Sam Bird and his Jaguar teammate Mitch Evans second and third. Now, Mitch Evans got the fastest lap, so he gets an extra point to the championship. Robin Freins, fourth. Sebastian Buemi, fifth. Rene Rast, Pascal Verlaine, Alex Lynn, Maximilian Gunther, and Tom Blomqvist round out your top 10. Now, unlike Formula One and some of the other races where they give out bonus points, you can get bonus points for finishing outside of a points-paying position. Those include driver Oliver Rowland. Got the bonus point for being fastest in this group stage, 12th place in the race for Nissan Edam. And Stoffel Vandoorne, who retired after a collision early on, received 3 bonus points for scoring the pole position.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll figure out what happened to, the Stoffel Vandoorne. It was an interesting race for him.
Right.
On the first lap, Andre Lauderer trying to make a move for some reason, ended up hitting Vandoorne. Vandoorne goes off in the runoff, and Lauderer gets stuck in the tire barrier, takes them out, and then later on, Vandoorne's running good until Lucas di Grassi actually started running low on power. He had a power issue, was so slow that both the Mercedes cars, Vandoorne and Nick de Vries, made contact and both ended their races. After Lucas di Grassi, with not much power, was slow in front of them, they made contact and spun.
I actually sent Lucas di Grassi out of the race.
Yeah, with loss of power. He lost power, and both Mercedes crashed behind him.
Right.
It was an interesting race 1.
No points at all for di Grassi. Now let's move on to race 2 for Sunday's race. Let's go down the race results. Justin, you're going to have to debrief this one for me because like I said, I slept in. That's something I don't ever do, but I did this time.
Yeah.
Stoffel Vandoorne for Mercedes EQ Formula E team takes the win. Redemption from race 1. Also gets the bonus point for scoring the fastest lap. Alexander Sims, second place for Madeira. 18 points for him. Pascal Verlaine brings the Porsche on the podium. We're going to talk about why that is later on. Eduardo Mortara, 4th, and Maxim Gunther, 5th. Mitch Evans, 6th. Antonio Felix da Costa, last year's champion, brings his DSG in a points-paying position at 7th place. Tom Blomqvist, 8th. Nico Mueller and Sebastian Buemi round out the points-paying positions. Now, outside of the points-paying positions, receiving points retired on lap 21 was Nick Cassidy. Nick Cassidy ended up winning pole position in his Audi, thus scoring 3 bonus points, and then disqualified, originally finishing 3rd place in the race with Venturi Mercedes driver Norman Nato, who was the fastest in his group stage, receiving a bonus point off that. Now, what happened to Norman Nato, Justin?
It was something with the power, because he ran out of power before the line, but this rule in the FIA doesn't make too much sense, is that you have to make it to the line on full power. He didn't. That's why.
Oh, so you have to make it to the line on full fuel in F1. It's no difference.
Yeah. So he got disqualified for that.
I'll give you an example. Dan Ticktum in the FIA Formula 2 race.
Oh, yeah. He won, but...
Yeah, but he got disqualified after not having sufficient fuel
to make it bad, yeah.
To make it, or to be to be scrutinized with the fuel load he had. So they couldn't review his fuel load, so they had to disqualify him.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and also about what happened to Nick Cassidy from the pole. Turn 1. In turn 1, he locked up the rears, spun himself out, and then he got recovered from that, but later on, Oliver Rowland tried to do a dive bomb, but sent Nick Cassidy into the tires instead. He hit him in the side, and that sent Nick Cassidy in the tire barrier and destroyed his race. It was interesting. Really interesting race there for race 2.
Sure was. But in the end, there is a new championship leader, and that is Sam Bird. Sam Bird comes out of this with the points lead. He's got 43 points in the bag. Mitch Evans, though. How about Mitch Evans? 39 points for the Kiwi. But then the Dutchman of Robin Freins, third place, 34 points. It is sure close between the top 4. Stoffel Vandoorne especially, he could have, oh man, if he finished race 1, he probably would have been the points leader, come to think of it.
Right.
33 points back. So there are 4 drivers within the top 4 in points that are within 10 points apart.
Yeah.
5th place and 6th place tied Nick DeVries and Pascal Wehrlein.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Antonio Felix da Costa, Lucas Degrassi. Should they be worried about now?
Yes. They should kind of be, because they need points. They really need to start getting points finishes, because finishing outside of the points too many times is not going to help them at all.
Here's the nature of Formula E racing. It's so unforgiving. You're outside the top 10, no points. You're done.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Very. All right. So
nice shirt, by the way, Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to talk about 2 other events that happened over this weekend, and then we'll transition into the events of this weekend coming up. We have a huge race weekend ahead.
Oh, my man.
We're going to just discuss the events of Saturday, Supercross at Atlanta, and then the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. We'll start with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Martinsville 200, round 1 of what is currently a 14-race tour, began Thursday night. The Virginia is for Racing Lovers 200 at Martinsville Speedway. I said that right first time around. Leave it to the veteran, Eric Goodale, taking the win, leading 30 laps in this race. The 35-year-old ended up picking up his 4th career win. Tyler Reckma is best career finish of 2nd.
Yeah, he won Modified Tour Rookie of the Year last year. Really good finish for his family-owned team.
Veteran Justin Bonsignor led 52 laps in this race. Started 7th, finished 3rd. Max McLaughlin led 8 laps in the curb entry, finishing 4th. And Kyle Bonsignor rounded out the top 5 in his own machine. Started 23rd in this 35-car show.
Yeah. The other 110 laps, if you're wondering who led that, Ryan Priest led the other 110 from the pole. He started pole, finished 12th. But there's one driver that kind of impressed me. That was Jamie Tomeno. He got 10th at age 60.
That's impressive.
He's in his 60s. Like, I think he's 64.
He's 64, turning 65 this July.
Yeah. And he finished a top 10 and on the lead lap in there. At that age, like, that's impressive.
Jamie Tomeno according to Racing Reference, scored 3 wins in the Whelen Modified Tour: Stafford Springs 1986, 1990 at Monadnock, and at Lee USA Speedway 1994.
Yeah.
He's been a long-time staple in the Modified Tour, so great job on him.
Yeah, like that's
Getting
really
that top 10.
Yeah. And John McCanney crashed on the final lap with
there were some pretty big crashes in that race.
Yeah, one of them was a little parking lot in turn 4. Ryan Newman had something go wrong, checked up in front of Eric Goodale, and then they started wrecking behind. And it was a parking lot.
It wasn't pretty, I'll tell you that.
It was bigger than the one in the Cup race.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen videos of it, and it was a real parking lot.
Luckily, all the drivers walked away.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously the first race is in the books, so without a doubt, the point standings pretty much match the race results that we mentioned. Their next race will be on April 25th for Stafford Springs Race 1. There's 3 races throughout the season there. So Stafford Springs 1 is at April 25th for round 2 of 14. We'll talk more about the Modified Tour later on, but there's another race that we're going to discuss before moving on to the races that we're going to go ahead and look at. If you're a fan of two wheels, boy, this was certainly a wild one to watch. This AMA Supercross Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, race 1. There are 3 races there. We have 5 races left. Amber alert. Gee.
What? Oh.
That's not good. I hope everybody's okay. But Supercross did not disappoint. Eli Tomac, the reigning champion, brought his Kawasaki to a thrilling victory. It didn't look like the race was in his hands. Aaron Plessinger led for most of the race. He fell just past the halfway mark, looking to score his first win. Then Chase Sexton, the Honda rider, ended up taking the lead until a back marker bike got in the way just before the final lap, and Sexton had to miss one of his jumps, on the straightaway, which allowed Eli Tomac to prevail and take a very important win. He stays in the championship hunt. As we mentioned, Chase Sexton second in the Honda. Third place, KTM's Cooper Webb, the championship leader, just hanging on a thread here. Jason Anderson and his Husqvarna finished fourth, and Dylan Ferrandis in the Yamaha finished fifth. Point standings with 4 races left in the season. It is Cooper Webb with 296 points. Second place, Ken Roxon with 274 in the bag. Eli Tomac is still alive in the championship hunt with 260 points, but he's got to hope for a Hail Mary. Hope that these guys in front fail to make the main event. Justin Barcia, pretty much out of the hunt at this point with 227 points. And fifth place with 200 points, Aaron Plessinger. Still looking for that first win. As I mentioned, there are 2 other races at Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Tomorrow, Atlanta Part 2 and Atlanta Race 3 on Saturday. We have 4 races left in the championship hunt. 2 races at Atlanta and the other 2 races in Utah. And it'll crown a champion for 2021. So if you like the 2 wheels, you better watch for the next 2 to 3 weekends. It will be very interesting. All right, I think that's it. Let's look ahead now at what is coming in the motorsports world this weekend. And we're going to start with NASCAR in the Cup Series for race 9 of the 36 race tour at Richmond Raceway for 400 miles. The Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway.
Yeah.
Last year, Brad Keselowski took the win for Team Penske. Let's take a look at the history of this race. In 1953, this track was paved on dirt. Lee Petty took the win. He was the first ever winner at Richmond. His son, Richard Petty, ended up being the all-time winningest driver at Richmond, winning this race for a total of 13 times.
Woo!
Yeah.
Bobby Allison is second on that list, and he could be possibly tied by Kyle Busch, who is third on the list. Now, he's joined by other 6-time winners, including David Pearson, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip. Dale Earnhardt won this race 5 times. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 3-time winner, along with Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Terry Labonte, Tony Stewart, Joe Weatherly, and Cale Yarborough. And here is the enormous list of 2-time winners at Richmond Raceway. Davey Allison, Neil Bonnet, Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Dave Marcus, Cotton Owens, Benny Parsons, Lee Petty, Ricky Rudd, Speedy Thompson, and Martin Truex Jr., the latest guy to join that list, MTJ.
Yeah.
In terms of the spring race at Richmond, for team victories, it is the active team of Joe Gibbs Racing. In 2019, Martin Truex Jr. passed and Joe Gibbs Racing passed Richard Petty Enterprises team to become the winningest spring team at Richmond. As I mentioned, Petty Enterprises 8 wins here in the spring. 5 wins from these 3 teams, Junior Johnson and Associates, Richard Childress Racing, and Hendrick Motorsports. 3 wins by Robert Yates Racing, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and Team Penske. These teams have 2 wins, Carl Kiekeffer, Bud Moore Engineering, Cotton Owens, Holman Mooney, and Dygaard Motorsports, all teams that are no longer in the sport. In terms of the spring race at Richmond, for manufacturer wins, Chevy versus Ford, Chevy. This time, 21 wins. Ford, 15 wins. Dodge, 8 wins. Toyota, third of the active manufacturers on the list, 7 wins. Pontiac and Plymouth share 5 wins. 1 win shared by Chrysler, T-Bird, and Buick. So now that you think about the numbers, this has been a very, very long time race that has been a staple in the calendar for years. The track has changed. Now it's been what it's been since the mid 80s. The layout hasn't really much changed. It's a short track with pressure on the brakes. The brakes will be put to higher pressure than it was at Martinsville with the added speeds. What are the expectations for the Cup guys going to Martinsville this weekend?
For like the Cup guys, they expect the track to be different than last year because if we remember last year, that was only a night race. This year, they're back to day. The last time they ran a day race at Richmond, 2017. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting race, but I have my stats. I always read stats to figure out who I want to pick to win.
And the last day race was won by Joey Logano.
Yep, back in 2017. But I actually have my pick right here.
Let's hear it.
Okay, my pick, this driver's stats. He has, in 12 starts at Richmond, he has 1 win, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, 11 top 20s, 73 laps led, average start of 9th. His lowest finish is 37. He has 1 win here. He has already He has 1 win this season. Driver of the number 5, Kyle Larson, is going to get his 2nd win at Richmond.
Kyle Larson.
Yep, and the number 5.
I think Truex can pull off a back-to-back win.
Okay.
Since he has won twice at Martinsville and Richmond, I think he could pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I think we might see our first back-to-back winner in 2021. Martin Truex Jr. goes to victory lane.
Okay.
Martin Truex Jr. has just been so solid. He's finally make things click with James Small during the COVID era of racing. Did you guys put your picks down already, or was my brain going somewhere else?
Well,
I put my picks down already.
Me too.
You have Larson. What do you have, Danny?
Truex Jr.
Martin Truex Jr. All right, perfect. Sounds realistic. Okay, let's talk about the Truck Series race at Martinsville Speedway. So the Truck Series at Martinsville Speedway went on a 15-year hiatus from 2005 to 2020. But let's look at the history of this race. It's the 6th round of 22 races this season. Last year, Grant Enfinger took the win. This track was part of the very first Truck Series calendar in 1995, a thrilling finish won by Terry Labonte. Most wins by a team by a driver, 2 times shared by Mike Skinner, Jack Sprague, and Tony Stewart. Team wins, Hendrick Motorsports 3, of course 1995 with Terry Labonte, and the 2 wins from Jack Sprague, and Andy Peachy Racing, the 2 wins from Tony Stewart. Most manufacturer wins. All the manufacturers that have competed in the Truck Series have won at least once here. 6 wins from Chevrolet outscore Ford, 3 wins from them, 2 wins from Dodge, and 1 win from Toyota. The last one before hiatus, and when Mike Skinner won in 2005. So the truck drivers are back. Of course, we kind of know who's on the entry list. We also, we're getting to the end of that end of the bargain here. Who will go to victory lane in round 6 of the truck season?
I have my pick. This driver, he's only ran 1 race here back in 2020. He finished 12th in his only start, but he started in 14th. This driver is a rookie this season. Driver of the number 18, Chandler Smith, is going to get his first career win at Richmond.
Okay. Chandler Smith. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say the same thing. Chandler Smith is been shown to be really good this season. I think he might pull off and get his first win this season.
Toyota's streak will come to an end. Rafael Assar will go to victory lane.
Okay. That's interesting.
You know why? Because Rafael Assar has a background in short track racing that impressed Kyle Busch to the point where he said, I'm bringing you to the truck team, ready or not.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's now with GMS Racing. There's something about Rafael Assar that tells me that he will win this race.
Okay, that's interesting.
I might be wrong, but
we'll
just
see.
expect the top 5 out of him.
Yeah, we'll see. If GMS brings him a fast truck,
right?
If they give him a fast truck, he'll be up there.
All right. We're going to take this next category and bring it into 2 parts. For open wheel racing, we're going to start with Formula 1, and then we're going to move over to IndyCar. We'll start off with the second race of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship, and that brings us to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at the Imola circuit for round 2 of the season. But yeah, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, yes, I said it right, a track that holds 78,000 fans, will be host of this upcoming race. Unfortunately, we don't have too much stats from recent years because the only other Emilia Romagna Grand Prix held at Imola was last year, won by Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. But we know who has speed. We kind of don't know who has speed.
Well,
who will go to victory lane?
Not
victory lane, in the top step of the podium.
I have Lewis Hamilton. I know. But the thing is, I know Max has speed. I know Red Bull has speed at Bahrain, but maybe Mercedes has the actually upgraded stuff, and they're not Ferrari. Well, the thing is, Mercedes is not like Ferrari. Remember when
Ferrari's a little faster, though. Don't forget.
Yeah, but the thing is, remember when Ferrari said they had upgrades last year? It looked like the car was worse.
You know how this goes, Justin.
Well, Ferrari is just weird. Sometimes their strategies are weird. But my question is, Sebastian Vettel gonna spin?
No.
He's won last race with Esteban Ocon at Bahrain. But hopefully no sandwich bag gets into Fernando Alonso's brakes again.
All right, let me make my prediction for Imola.
Okay.
George.
George.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Valerie Bottas is going to win.
Okay, that's interesting.
Valtteri Bottas, huh?
I got you guys fooled.
I was about to say George Russell.
I'm like, no, bro.
Yeah, Williams is not going to get a win.
Yeah,
Could be
sorry.
a win for them in this circumstance.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Max Verstappen
Okay.
going to get.
Okay.
It's gonna be a good bout. No matter what happens, I see these two
Yeah.
just
Jeez.
intertwine on the track. It'll be great to watch.
Hopefully Perez doesn't have an issue on the formation lap this time. Remember what happened last time on the formation lap at Bahrain when Perez's car? Maybe Nikita Mazepin will last a lap.
By the way, here's a fun fact. I'm going to say this because it's probably the only time I'm going to be able to say it. I have the same amount of laps complete as Nikita Mazepin does in Formula One. So does you. So does your doctor. So does your pet dog. So does your terrible college professor. So does your dentist. And so does your flight attendant.
Oh my gosh.
They've all completed 0 laps in a Formula One Grand Prix.
But I think Mazepin's not going to spin.
I know, of course.
But the thing is, it's like, but also the Haas cars are so bad.
So bad. They're the locales of Formula One.
But the thing is, even Mick Schumacher said his F2 car is faster. His F2 car from last year was faster than the Haas car because at one point, for a couple laps later, Mick Schumacher spun. Like, the Haas car is not stable at all. The car is slow. Haas is going to be Haas is the worst team on the grid this year.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Williams had been even better than Haas this year.
They're not too far from Kwame Brown potential, anyways.
Well, they're not the Life Racing team who could barely run an F3000. That car was so bad.
Yeah, that's sad.
What or Andrea Mota's F1 team.
Or HRT F1.
Oh,
that couldn't meet the 100%, 7% rule.
You had Narain Karthikeyan.
And Pedro de la Rosa. Was that 2012?
In 2011, they had Liuzzi.
Yeah, Liuzzi.
Yeah.
Which Liuzzi spun through the grass and came back on the circuit at Monza.
It was a train wreck.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going Bottas. You're going with Hamilton and Verstappen.
Yep.
All right. From one open wheel series to another, the American open wheel class of 2021 is about to begin, or should I call it the IndyCar Series?
Yep. For
the brand new season, the Alabama Grand Prix presented by Honda is underway. And by the way, I just want to give a quick shout out to Indy Fanatics. Please give them a subscribe on YouTube. They are 2 brilliant lads who put out great content for IndyCar fans like you and me.
Yeah.
But let's get started with the 2021 calendar. As of the time of this podcast, we have 17 races, but let's go through the stats and the history of this event. Last race in 2019 held at this track. It was Takuma Sato taking the top step of the podium. The first race was held in 2010, won by Helio Castroneves.
Yeah.
Joseph Newgarden, the 2-time champion, has the most wins with 3 over Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay. 2 wins for those 2 drivers. All 3 of those drivers have one thing in common. They are IndyCar Series champions. In terms of team wins, Team Penske, 6 wins, and Andretti Autosport, 2 wins. Engine victories, Chevrolet, again, 6 wins, and Honda, 4 wins. There's your stats. We have the race upcoming this weekend. We kind of know who's going to be in this race, who's not, but it's a good picture of what to expect for the first go-round in 2021.
My pick is totally gonna be hard. Let me just say it. You said the person with the most wins. I think he's going to extend that with 4. Joseph Newgarden is going to win again at Barber. He's just good at this track. He just knows how to run this track. It's his playground, basically.
Very, very so.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and give you a greater outlook on the drivers that will shine in 2021. And I would be wrong not to think that he would succeed at a track just like this. Pato O'Ward will get his first win in the IndyCar levels and break the McLaren drought from Johnny Rutherford at Atlanta 1979.
Okay, that's interesting.
It almost happened last year at Road America.
Pato O'Ward.
But Pato O'Ward, he is so good. Honestly, should be in Formula One. Danny, let's hear your predictions.
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite driver, Scott Dixon, will get his first win of the season. I think he could get the job done.
Okay.
Can Scott Dixon tie and or pass Mario Andretti on the all-time wins list? Andretti has 52 wins. Scott Dixon has 50.
He could. 2 wins. He could get 2 wins this season.
Could Scott Dixon not only take second in the all-time wins list, but could he also tie AJ Foyt for the most championships at 7 this year? He got his 6th championship last year.
He could. It's just going to be tough this year.
Competition was even tough last year.
But the thing is, this year, Joseph Newgarden has some of his best tracks are on the calendar again.
They were not on the calendar last year, but they're back on the calendar this year.
Like Barber. And you know who won? Like, you got Barber, and then next week St. Pete, which...
On St. Pete, Joseph Newgarden.
Like, Joseph Newgarden, he's going to be... He's a contender. That Team Penske, they got 4 cars this year, plus they got 3 veterans plus rookie Scott McLaughlin in the number 3 entry.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
It's gonna be interesting to see how it's gonna be with. It's gonna be an interesting season. And Felix Rosenquist moved he replaced Oliver Askew in the other Aero McLaren entry. Alex Palau's now in the 3rd entry for Chip Ganassi. Jimmy Johnson driving the number 48 entry. Roman Grosjean's in the number 51 entry. It's going to be interesting.
This is like putting all your favorite characters together in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And actually, the game developer is called All-Star Mode.
Well, James Hinchcliffe, he's returned full-time for Andretti.
This is going to be a great season. I mean, I can't stop grinning over it.
Yeah, he replaced Zach Veach. Because Zach Veach kind of underperformed last season. Yeah, but James Hinchcliffe has experience. So that's going to help that 26. A lot of
good experience within that driver.
It's going to be interesting this IndyCar season.
We got a great calendar ahead. I just hope we can get all the races in it. Unfortunately, I can't be 100% on that. But for the most part, I do have a good outlook on this season.
Yeah.
All right. So before we talk about endurance sports car racing, let's start with one more event. That is, of course, the Repco Supercars Championship.
It's Sandown.
Wrong. That was last
man.
We're in Tasmania for the first time since 2019.
Oh, man.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to give you a scoop on this event. So this is week 3 of the 12 race or week tour. In terms of the rounds 6, 7, and 8 of the 31 race tour. And what's in common? It's been Shane Van Gisbergen world, as he has won all 5 races going into this event. He also won the last time that the Supercars ran at Tasmania at the famous Simmons Plains Raceway in 2019.
Okay.
let's look at the multiple winners category. And who else than Jamie Whincup lead that was? Before that, the first race here was held in 1969. It was won by Norm Beachy in his own Holden Monero GTS. So Jamie Whincup has taken the throne of a race that's been around for longer than he's lived. Peter Brock won here 5 times. Alan Moffat and Dick Johnson share 4 wins at this event. Craig Lowndes 3 times he's won this race. And these drivers have won twice. John Harvey, Robbie Frankevic, Mark Scaife, Garth Tander, Will Davison, and recently Fabian Coulthard. Now, by team wins, 888 Race Engineering has this under their name as the most wins 8 times. Holden Dealer Team, 7 times they've won. Dick Johnson Racing, 6 wins. Holden Racing Team, 5 wins. Alan Moffat Racing, Gibson Motorsport shares 3 wins, while Glenn Seaton Racing and HSV Dealer Team share 2 wins. Now, by manufacturers, Holden and Ford, Holden by 10 wins. They have 26 wins at this event compared to Ford with 16 wins. Now, how about some third-party manufacturers? Volvo and Nissan share 2 wins at this event. Unfortunately, none of them are in the sport.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this has been like one of the more underdog races that's been going around for some time.
Yeah.
In terms of the Australian Touring Car Championship, now known as the V8 Supercars. But let's look at the points here going to this. This is Shane Van Gisbergen world. We haven't seen this since 2016, haven't we? And come to think of it, the Kiwi is just in a universe of his own. He's got a huge points lead over his teammate Jamie Whincup. 605 points for SVG, 455 points for Jamie Whincup, 442 points for Chaz Monster, hashtag no social hate. Big fan of the movement there.
Yeah.
Cam Waters, so close to winning so many times. 3 places in a row. 435 points, though. Mark Winterbottom, 411 points. In terms of the team championship, the only team to have 4-digit in the points numbers is Triple Eight.
Triple Eight Racing.
Yeah, the others are all like...
Of course, Waukesha and Journey United, and you can kind of see the struggle with the post-Scott McLaughlin era.
Dick Johnson. Yeah.
But they're middle of the points here.
Yeah, like Will Davison, he basically, like Will Davison, he's actually in the car that McLaughlin drove. He has the same number, 17, and Di Pasquale replaced Coulthard in the other entry. So it's gonna be they're just trying to get points.
Here's the good and bad news for Will Davison fans.
What?
The good news, Will Davison won in 2016. The bad news, Will Davison won in 2009. So, nothing is recent here.
Yeah.
They've already, washed over. All right, there are 3 races ahead. What are the predictions? Who will have the best finish amongst all 3 races? Will we see the same person win all 3 of them? Let's hear your predictions in the live chat and here.
I have all 3 races won by the same driver of the 97, Shane Van Gisbergen. Right as I said that, Toronto just scored. Now it's 2-1. Montreal has a 1-point lead over Toronto. Come on. It's obviously Austin Matthews scoring the goal. Oh, my.
I believe fans think they won the Stanley Cup over the trade deadline.
It's not even the playoffs have not started. So
and mind you, the North Division is the worst division of them all in the NHL.
Yeah, you got
Winnipeg's 10th in the standings. It's the second highest in the North Division.
Yeah, then it's Montreal behind them. Then after Montreal, Vancouver and Calgary. Edmonton's ahead of Vancouver, Calgary, and then the Ottawa Senators being the worst Canadian team they're not the Buffalo Sabres, which Buffalo has finally got 10 wins. It took a while for them to get double digits.
We can watch more of World Hockey Media next time around. But let's get back into the
Yeah.
just things here.
Yeah.
The Supercars event.
Yeah, I have Vin
So
Diesel.
who's the driver that has won more times than anybody else?
Jamie.
Jamie Whincup.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jamie Whincup will win the entire weekend.
Okay, we'll see about
You
that.
know what? I'm gonna lock in my pick and say Shane Van Gisbergen is gonna win again.
So bad next week on this podcast.
Was
If-
that
You'll look so bad on this podcast next week. And I'm still
okay?
I don't know.
All right. See what
Joseph.
you want, Joseph.
Joseph, Shane's won every race this season so far.
Exactly.
That's why, yes.
It has nothing to do with the track, maybe. Maybe it just has to do with 2020 T1.
But he's really showing his speed at these tracks.
All right. Now we're in the category of this podcast where we discuss endurance sports car racing. We have 3 new seasons opening this weekend. We're going to start off with the European Le Mans Series, 4 hours of Barcelona. The GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Championship, 4 hours of Monza, 3 hours of Monza. I have to change that. And the NLS Series, formerly known as the VLN, the Nürburgring Homebound competition. Pretty much the precursor of the 24 hours of Nürburgring this weekend. Let's hope Mother Nature actually cooperates instead of us, having to watch 140 teams drive all the way home in their trailers because of a snowstorm.
Well, snow happens.
Snow happens, but it's April. Move on.
Well, it happens in April. Well, in my area, we had snow once in June.
6 hours of Spa had a snowstorm, and they
In
never
May.
stopped. It was
In
May.
May. Yeah, it was early May, and it was still snowing there.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes Joseph says, because he lives in Florida, he once told me to donate snow.
Yeah, I want snow in my hometown. I know I probably won't get it for another 40 years because it hasn't happened in 40-something years.
Yeah,
But I want to see snow in my own home.
yeah, because where I live, there's no snow now because it's been raining so much and it's not been that cold. But in like February, it was cold with a lot of snow during February and January.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and start off this sports car segment with the European Le Mans Series.
Yep, the ELMS.
Yep, the first race of the 6-race tour in sports car competition. The 4 hours of Barcelona at the beautiful circuit, the Barcelona Catalunya. I don't care what you say, F1 fans, and it's a beautiful circuit.
It is. Well, sports car is good. The F1 cars, no. Like there's some races like F2 and F3 have entertaining races there, but F1 with their aerodynamics, you can't pass. It's so tough. But we had, if you remember from 2016 and
Yeah,
F1,
2016 was a different story.
Rosberg and Hamilton took each other out of the race.
The breaking point of the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with the old competition. So, if you're not familiar with the European Le Mans Series, nothing much has changed between last season and this season. The classes are the same. LMP2 cars will compete for the overall win. LMP3s are back as normal.
And then
And
GTEs.
GTEs will be there with mostly privateer teams.
Yeah, 42 are entered for this event.
That's a good overall count.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the history of this race, though. The last time the 4 hours of Barcelona or the Barcelonas ran from a major sports car race sanctioned by the ACO was the 2009 Le Mans Series, won by Aston Martin Racing and the oh-so-forgotten Lola Aston Martin D0960 LMP1, driven by Thomas Engel, Stefan Muki, and Jean Charus.
Oh, my.
That was a 1,000-kilometer race in Catalonia. But this time around, it's a little bit different.
4 hours.
4 hours and counting.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the overall win battle in our predictions in that category for LMP2 class. I'm going to give my prediction. You will give me yours.
Okay.
For LMP2. And by the way, there will be a separate trophy for LMP2 this year for the AM Cup. You'll see that in the World Endurance Championship as well.
Okay, I got mine.
The Le Mans Series. And there's a few programs. We're going to start with, of course, the overall win.
Okay.
Entirely, plus the LMP. Winning this race overall will be, I think this will be a very interesting.
I got mine. My pick.
Let's hear yours, Justin, because I feel like I'm going to regret saying mine.
My pick is the number 32 United Autosports entry, driven by Job Van Utrecht, Nico Yaman, and Manuel Maldonado. Yes, I know he's related to Pastor, but
yes,
he
Pastor
really
won
did.
his only F1 race here, by the way.
But the thing, Manuel Maldonado really did good in the Asian Le Mans series that they had. But I feel like he'll carry momentum, and I feel like that 32 entry will win. And I figured out there's only one LMP2 AM car with the number 84. That's the only LMP2 AM car in the field. Because they're all the way on the bottom, and that's the LMP2 AM car. 84.
All right. So, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So who's your pick, Joseph?
Well, my pick to win this race will be the number 22 United Autosports.
Okay.
Orca 07, driven by Tom Gamble, Philip Hansen, two drivers that have been with the team for quite some time. And how about a youngin and Jonathan Aberdeen from South Africa, Cape Town. His father, Chris Aberdeen, also was a driver in his day. A touring car driver, that is. I think that bunch will have what it takes to win the overall race in the LMP2 class. Now let's move on to the LMP3 class. LMP3 class is more like kind of like a single spec, more ordeal for less experienced drivers between Ligier JSP 320s and or the Duquesne M30 DO8 car. In the LMP3 class, I'll give you my prediction because I think I have one by now.
What's your pick?
My pick, this is kind of a surprise, but this team is from Poland, and I've watched these drivers actually for quite some time from when they raced in the Americas. Team Virage number 20, Ligier JSP 320 with drivers Charles Cruz, Rob Hodes, and Garrett Grist.
Okay. I got mine. My pick is the number 3 United Autosports entry, driven by James McGuire, Duncan Tappy, and Andrew Bentley.
All right, so 2 classes down, 1 to go. Let's talk about the LMGTE class. Yes, there is an LMGTE class in this series. Despite the uncertain future of LMGTE racing, there is a strong presence in the base of the privateer teams that show up in the European Le Mans series. Let's take a look at the LMGTE class. We got Porsches, Ferraris, as per usual. We have Aston Martin showing some presence, but other than that, it's mostly Porsche, Ferrari. All right, so in terms of the LMGTE class, my pick for this race, and I know it might be a long shot. Most of these drivers aren't so familiar, but it's going to be the number 88 AF Corsa Ferrari with drivers Francois Prado, Manuel Collard, and Alessio Rivera. Ferrari 488 GTE Evo will win in GT class.
Okay, I'll go. Oh my God. Why did I Now I gotta go back into the entry list because I clicked out of it by accident. I got mine. My pick is the number 77 Proton Competition entry driven by Christian Reed, Jackson Evans, and Gianmaria Bruni. And the only reason I know Gianmaria Bruni, other than racing in sports cars, he drove in F1 in 2004 for Minardi. And the one reason I only know why he drove...
He's not a bad driver by any
No,
means.
but the one other reason I remember him in F1, Arav, who's a F1 YouTuber, he was playing F104, and he was a test driver role. Yes, F104 had a test driver role, and he wanted Minardi to boot him out to put him in instead of Gianmaria Bruni. That's the only one of the reasons I knew about him. And John Tavares just scored a goal for Toronto. Now it's tied. Come on, Toronto. Stop.
All right, Johnny Toronto. Okay, let's move on to the second of 3 endurance sports car races that we're covering for this weekend, and that is the season opening SRO organization GT World Challenge Europe Endurance. 3 hours of Monza. It's round 1 of 5. So put some of the best GT3 teams and drivers from Europe on the track at Monza, one of Europe's greatest circuits, for 3 hours. I think we're going to see a dogfight, Justin. What do you say?
I think it's going to be a really good fight because there's so many entries in this race.
How many total? We got lots of them.
Okay. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 21. I counted 43.
That's a lot of cars, and there are multiple classes in this event. So we have the main class, then Pro Am Cup, the Silver Cup.
Yeah,
but they're all in the same capacity where they could win overall.
Yeah, I see some drivers here that I know about.
A lot of familiar faces with factory teams.
There's some, there's also some other drivers from other series in this race, like Callum Ilott. He's running.
Yeah, he's making his GT debut for Ferrari.
Yeah, in the Iron Lynx entry, number 71. Like you have also Windward Racing, who won the Rolex 24. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting race.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna make my prediction for the overall win. When I saw this entry come out, I knew right away, these guys are going to be favorites to win. I just don't remember seeing these drivers on the same track, however.
But
I'm going to go with GPX Racing, number 22, with Matt Campbell, Earl Bammer, and Matthew Jaminet in Porsche 911 GT3R.
Okay, I got my prediction. My prediction's the number 34 Walking Horse Motorsports BMW M6 GT3, driven by Marco Wittmann, Sheldon van der Linde, and David Pittard. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for having technical difficulties here. I have technical difficulties on my end.
Oh, is it your camera being weird?
I believe.
Or
I have to turn my camera off till the end of this podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my pick for the overall win.
Okay,
now for
the
VLN race.
I'm looking at
my tab is being slow. So
I got the car
podcast.
Wait, for the what class is the overall win? Is it SP9?
My computer could freeze. That's the point.
But Is it the SP9 the overall class winner?
Let's look at the VLN
Like, I'm literally at the...
9. Now, we don't know we got to make this quick because winner.
Yeah, because it says... Because this end...
Let's hear it.
Where's my pick? I lost my pick. I don't know if hopefully all these entries are running full time because I'm looking off Wikipedia.
No, I know for
because
sure
the
there are
main
drivers that are running in the other series that are not racing at VLN this weekend for sure. Francois Parada.
I know the 90.
Clark.
Sheldon Vanderlin's not going to be there because he's running at Monza. So my pick. I got my pick. Where is it?
Yeah, what's your pick? Let's hear it.
Okay, my pick. I have the number 2 Mercedes AMG Get Speed entry. That so far it says Maximilian Guts, Daniel Giancandela, Rafael Marciello, and Fabian Schiller. I have the number 2 entry.
I have the Get Speed Mercedes as well.
Okay. Which one? The 2, 8, or 9?
I think Falk.
The 2. Okay.
I have the 2, but I think the Falcon might be a factor. It all depends on who those drivers are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
well, unfortunately, this is going to mark the end of the podcast as I'm experiencing very bad technical issues. I had to turn my camera off. It's just gotten to the point where my tab is about to freeze, so I have to end the podcast now. We'll see you guys next week. We're going to have a lot of racing to cover for episode 7.
Hopefully, Joseph's computer is... but
don't worry, I have to perform surgery on it. And we'll be back next week. And I got a whole schedule to be miserable about. School come to an end. I got final exams and a grade that is not comfortable. So you just got to deal with life as is. For my partners, Daniel Ford and Justin Hebert, I'm Joe Laney Pavone signing off. Have a good night.